Before we start, remember the average of a set of numbers equals the sum of those numbers divided by the number of numbers. And this equation is what I personally call the average formula. And anytime you're working with averages, which by the way the GRE will also call arithmetic means, do yourself a favor, take the information you've been given and plug it into this formula. So if we want to get the average age for the entire population, what are we going to need? We're going to need the sum of the ages divided by the number of people in the population. Now, one of these values we know. We're told in the problem that the total population was 260 million and change, which means we know the number of people in the population. To get the average age of the population, therefore, we simply need to get the sum of the ages. That is the real key to solving this problem. If we can get the sum of the ages, that's going to give us the average. Now, having said this, there are clearly a number of answers that are not going to help us get this information, that are not going to help us get the sum of the ages. Two such answers, of course, are C and D. These refer to the median. And remember what a median is. The median is the 50th percentile. It's the value in the middle when your data has been arranged in order from least to greatest. And the reason knowing just the median doesn't help us is that the median is just the middle value. We need to know the sum of all the values, not just the one in the middle. Now, another answer that's not going to help us get the information that we're after is the last answer. Right? This already says we have everything we need, and that's clearly not the case. And finally, a last answer that's not going to give us the information that we're after is the first answer. We already know the number of people in each group. It's not stated explicitly, but we could clearly figure it out if we needed to. For example, we know there's 260 million people, and 26.1% of them are 17 and younger. If we were to crunch the numbers, we would actually get the number of 17-year-olds and younger. And likewise, 18 to 24-year-olds, that's 9.7% of the population. So if we needed to, we could just get 9.7% of the 260 million. In other words, this is information we already have, and it's clearly not giving us the sum of the ages, which is what we need. That's why this answer is also not the correct answer. Of course, this means that the second answer is the correct answer by default. And that in and of itself is a good enough reason for us to choose it. Remember, on your exam, time is precious. Don't throw away your good time if you don't have to. Of course, having said this, let's actually take a moment to understand why it is the correct answer. Remember, our goal is to get the sum of the ages for the entire population. If we can get this, we can get the average age of the entire population. And think back to our average formula. We know the average equals the sum divided by the number. In other words, if we can get two of these three variables, so to speak, we can use them to get the third. So if we knew the average age for each group, well, we just saw a moment ago, we can use the percentages and the total population to get the number of people in each group. And that would give us both the average age and the number for each of these four age groups. And together, we could use them in the average formula to get the sum of the ages for each of these four groups. And if we could get the sum of the ages for each of the four groups, we could add them all together to give us the sum of the ages for the entire population. And that, of course, is the piece of information that we need to get the average age for the entire population. And that's why the second answer is the correct answer.